in the Jordan Valley is absolutely intriguing. The massive tower there, which again dates back right to the end of the last ice.
Is the size and scale of Göbekli Tepe unique in comparison to the ones that are around it?
Yes. So far, the ones that have been found, Göbekli Tepe is unique. And it suggests that cultural ideas way back in the remote past were being spread around the world very, very rapidly.
Göbekli Tepe is widely regarded as one of the most important archaeological discoveries ever made. Located in southeastern Turkey, the site dates back more than 11,000 years, placing it thousands of years before Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Its massive T-shaped pillars, carved with detailed reliefs of animals and abstract symbols, have fundamentally altered how archaeologists understand the origins of human civilization. In September, a new discovery at Göbekli Tepe drew global attention. Archaeologists announced the recovery of a human-like stone statue found at the base of a rough stone wall within the site. According to the official explanation, the statue had been intentionally placed face down beneath the wall as part of a 12,000-year-old ritual. Described as a votive offering, an object dedicated to a deity as an act of devotion or gratitude. At first glance, the explanation appears straightforward. But when the physical context of the discovery is examined closely, it raises serious questions. Photographs show the statue lying face down beneath a crude wall made of uncut stone rubble. The wall itself is markedly different from Göbekli Tepe's core architecture. It lacks symmetry, precision, and craftsmanship. This stands in sharp contrast to the monumental T-shaped pillars that define the site. Pillars that were carefully carved, positioned, and arranged with apparent intention. The disparity is difficult to ignore. Göbekli Tepe's pillars are not random stones. They are massive monoliths, some weighing up to 20 tons, carved with three-dimensional imagery of animals such as foxes, snakes, birds, and insects. Many researchers believe these carvings convey symbolic or cosmological information. The pillars are arranged in circular or oval enclosures, suggesting deliberate planning and possibly astronomical alignment. By comparison, the wall under which the statue was found appears improvised. Its stones are irregular and loosely stacked. There is no evidence of carving, alignment, or aesthetic intent. This raises a fundamental question. Does this wall belong to the same construction phase and cultural context as the pillars themselves? The statue adds another layer of complexity. It is carved with arms positioned across the front of the body, with hands resting near the navel. This posture is not unique to Göbekli Tepe. Similar positioning is seen in statues from other ancient sites around the world, including Easter Island and parts of Indonesia. Whether this similarity represents a shared symbolic language or a coincidence remains unknown, but it suggests that the statue was meant to be displayed upright and visible. That interpretation is reinforced by one specific feature. The statue's feet were carved into a peg-like shape. This design would allow the figure to be planted vertically into the ground. Such a feature would be unnecessary if the statue were intended to lie horizontally beneath a wall. This detail alone casts doubt on the claim that it was created specifically to be placed face down as a buried offering. If the statue was meant to stand upright, then its final position beneath rubble may represent a later event, not its original placement. This leads to a broader issue that has surrounded Göbekli Tepe since its discovery: the presence of stone walls made of rough rubble scattered throughout the site. These walls are often assumed to be part of the original construction, but their crude nature stands in stark contrast to the precision of the pillars they enclose or obscure. An alternative interpretation is that these walls were added later by groups who encountered Göbekli Tepe long after it was first built. Rather than being part of the original design, they may have been used to fill in, partition, or even deliberately bury the site. This idea gains traction when considering how much of Göbekli Tepe remains unexcavated. Out of approximately 200 known pillars, only a small fraction have been fully exposed. Around 128 pillars are still completely buried. Even among the excavated enclosures, many pillars remain partially covered. One of the most famous examples is Pillar 43, often called the Vulture Stone. Despite being one of the most analyzed artifacts at the site, large portions of it remain hidden beneath dirt and rubble. Entire sides of the pillar have never been documented. Excavations at Göbekli Tepe began in the mid-1990s. After nearly 3 decades, vast sections of the site remain untouched. This slow pace is often justified as careful preservation. Yet critics argue that much of what remains to be removed is not delicate stratigraphy, but loose rubble that could be cleared efficiently while still maintaining rigorous documentation through modern tools such as LiDAR scanning, high-resolution photography, and 3D modeling. The limited excavation has direct consequences for interpretation. Without full exposure, it is impossible to determine whether the rubble walls are contemporary with the pillars or part of a later phase. It is also impossible to see the full iconographic program carved into the pillars themselves. The question of burial is equally contentious. Göbekli Tepe has long been described as a site that was intentionally buried around 11,600 years ago. This burial is often presented as a deliberate act by its builders, possibly marking the end of the site's use. However, in recent years, some archaeologists have shifted their position, suggesting that the site may have been buried gradually by natural processes such as hillside erosion and sediment accumulation. That explanation faces significant challenges. Göbekli Tepe sits near the top of a hill, not at the base of one. The surrounding terrain does not provide a clear source for the enormous volume of material required to bury a 22-acre site under meters of debris. When early photographs of the site are examined, the extent and uniformity of the burial appear inconsistent with random landslides. Additionally, ruins located at the very top of the hill were also found buried. This makes a simple downhill erosion model difficult to reconcile with the physical evidence. If multiple landslides had buried the site, one would expect widespread structural damage. Yet the pillars remain upright, intact, and carefully positioned. The crude rubble walls, by contrast, appear structurally weak and would likely have been destroyed by such forces. This has led some researchers to propose that the site was buried intentionally, but incrementally, stone by stone, rather than all at once. In this model, the rubble walls may not be remnants of occupation, but tools of burial, used to fill enclosures in an organized manner that protected the pillars rather than destroying them. The timing of this burial is also notable. Göbekli Tepe appears to have been covered around the onset of the Younger Dryas, a sudden and severe climatic event marked by rapid cooling, ecological disruption, and rising sea levels. Some researchers have proposed that the site functioned as a form of symbolic record, possibly even a calendar documenting catastrophic events in the ancient past. If so, the burial of Göbekli Tepe may not have been an abandonment, but a response to environmental crisis. This interpretation places Göbekli Tepe within a much larger regional context. Southeastern Turkey is home to dozens of other ultra-ancient sites dating back more than 10,000 years. The region also contains hundreds of underground cities, some capable of housing tens of thousands of people and their livestock. One of the largest, Derinkuyu, descends more than 280 feet underground across 18 levels, suggesting long-term planning for survival. Taken together, these sites point to a level of organization, engineering, and foresight that challenges the idea that early humans in this region were simple hunter-gatherers. This does not require accepting every speculative connection or symbolic interpretation, but it does demand acknowledging that the conventional narrative is incomplete. Göbekli Tepe is not just an isolated temple built by primitive societies. It is part of a broader landscape of ancient human activity that predates what has traditionally been taught as the beginning of civilization. The statue found beneath the rubble wall may not be a ritual offering placed by the site's original builders. It may instead be evidence of later occupation, reinterpretation, or even intentional concealment. Without full excavation and transparent documentation, such questions cannot be resolved. What Göbekli Tepe ultimately represents is not a single answer, but a challenge to assumptions, to timelines, and to the way ancient history is reconstructed. Until the site is fully revealed, its pillars will continue to raise questions that demand careful, open-minded investigation, not premature conclusions. It is part of a broader landscape of ancient human activity that predates what has traditionally been taught as the beginning of civilization. The statue found beneath the rubble wall may not be a ritual offering placed by the site's original builders. It may instead be evidence of later occupation, reinterpretation, or even intentional concealment. Without full excavation and transparent documentation, such questions cannot be resolved. What Göbekli Tepe ultimately represents is not a single answer, but a challenge. This interpretation places Göbekli Tepe within a much larger regional context. Southeastern Turkey is home to dozens of other ultra-ancient sites dating back more than 10,000 years. The region also contains hundreds of underground cities, some capable of housing tens of thousands of people and their livestock. But it does demand acknowledging that the conventional narrative is to assumptions, to timelines, and to the way ancient history is reconstructed. Until the site is fully revealed, its pillars will continue to raise questions that demand careful, open-minded investigation, not premature conclusions.